Have you ever felt like you're too particular about everything? Like you can't quite relax unless things feel just right, whether that's how something looks, how something's done, what you said, what you're wearing, how your skin looks, how your house looks, and even when everything is technically fine, there's still something in you going, not quite.
If that's you, you're in the right place. Welcome back to Too Much Apparently, a podcast for deep feeling, overthinking, emotionally overloaded humans who've been told they're too much, apparently.
We're Alice and Carly, two deep feeling therapists figuring out how to live in a world that often feels like a lot.
This isn't therapy or advice, just honest, messy, human conversations about life, healing, and our own brains. And if you want more of the conversation, we're building a little community over on Substack with journal prompts, community chats, live event updates, and fellow muchlings to connect with. Go to toomuchapparently.com for all our links.
So let's get into it. So I feel like this is both of us.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, and I've really wanted to talk about what I kind of think of as everyday perfectionism.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you think of perfectionism, people think on like having to do really well in their job or having to do a project or a piece of work kind of just right, rather than how it can show up in just everyday things that we might do. But perfectionism is the driver behind it.
Yeah. And it's just constantly there.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I often think of myself as like the princess from The Princess and the Pea.
Oh, I say the same thing. No way.
Like people just don't seem to notice the things that I notice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would definitely be like, hey, there's a pea in somewhere in all these mattresses.
Yeah. But just so many things. When I was thinking about, right, okay, where does this show up for me in my life? The first thing I thought of was food.
Okay.
So my husband does a lot of the cooking in our house. And it's so awkward for me to say like, because I am genuinely so grateful that he does a lot of the cooking, but if it's not exactly right, just like I shouldn't,
right
like I know the correct thing to say is, that was lovely, but the carrots were a bit hard, or that was great, but did you drain the oil off before you added the sauce in? Oh, I'm annoying. I know I am.
Well, I think that's true because you do then extend it to how other people do it, or because I wouldn't have done that like that. I'd have done that like this. Or why did you do it like that? Even just if someone's driving, you're like, why are you going this way? Yeah, you can just think about, well, that's not the way that I'd be doing it.
Yeah.
If I was to think of an example for how everyday perfectionism shows up in me, the first thing that comes to my mind is when something I've bought arrives at the house and I have to open the package. And the first thing I do isn't get all excited about the new thing I've bought. The first thing I do is time to inspect. And it's like, get it out the box. And I have to inspect the whole thing for any little mark, any little blemish, any little imperfection before I can then be excited about it when I know, oh no, it's okay. It's fine.
Yeah.
And if it does have a little mark, the disappointment, the fatigue that comes with having to send it back because I do have to. I can't just accept it. Sometimes where I'll challenge myself and I'll keep it. Yeah, but often I'm like, no, that's not. And the more expensive it is, the more my tolerance is like, no. But I'm not talking about something arriving with a big scratch down it or a bit broken off it. I'm usually talking about something quite small that other people, A, might not have even noticed, or B, if they did, would be like, they wouldn't even think anything of it. Be like, that's fine. Whereas I'm like, this is brand new. It needs to be perfect.
Yeah. I think another thing for me is like decorating or cleaning. And I guess we will get into quite quickly the costs of living this way. But I don't do very much cleaning. And it's because if I'm going to do cleaning, I have to do it all and I have to do it exactly right. And I can't do half a job. So I just don't do it at all. Obviously not ideal.
Yeah.
But I think there's a really big overlap for me in being autistic and this things needing to be right. And sometimes it irritates me because I feel like people can talk about perfectionism, and I see perfectionism as a, as a much more complicated than it first appears. It's often about shame, intolerance of disappointment, lots of other things. But for me, I feel like some of these things are really just a sensory thing. There's not some big, complicated psychological, what does this mean about me and my past? It's just, yeah, like going back to the food, I just need it to be right.
Yeah, yeah. You're so right. That's an important distinction that there
Mm,
can be so much wrapped up in this, and some of
mm,
it can be really deep. And some of it, well, it's not that deep. It's just sensory. It's just a sensory issue. I don't mean just a sensory issue because, it can be really disruptive. I guess I also want to say, and it's not something that I can really, really add more to, I just want to give a nod to it, is like just rightness can also be an OCD thing,
mhm, mhm,
where, yeah, we have to make everything just right and it can start to really take over and affect lots of different things.
mm,
And I guess that would be its own conversation. But yeah, I would say like just rightness would link to OCD, autistic brains, autistic ways of being. And then, yeah, more related to things like, as you said, shame and intolerance of certain emotions. I mean, it's a form of protection, a way to try to feel safe, but of course does cause a lot of problems. But that's true for me. I sometimes find this hard to talk about because I think there's shame attached, but I don't know why there's shame attached. I'm like, why not? But for most of my life, I've struggled with skin picking.
mm,
But I have realized that it is a sensory issue. I need my skin to be smooth and to feel smooth. And if I touch my arm and along my arm there's one little bump, one little nodule, it's
mm.
like that's not supposed to be there. It needs to be smooth. So I have
Yeah.
to pick it off,
Mhm.
which makes no sense because then you get something that's really not smooth and you cause problems. But it's like I can't tolerate how that feels. You're like, you're not meant to be there. You need to be gone.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, so the same like when you get spots on your face and things like that. It's not like how they look, it's how they feel when I touch my face. And it's like, no, I need to
Yeah.
go back to not being there. It's like a disruption in the pattern of your skin almost.
Yeah, that's making me think about, so we've touched on like things being just right, and I think maybe it's just the other side of the same coin, but the wrongness is like, yeah. So I was thinking, I guess I was thinking about cleaning, and like I can't just half clean, like I can't just do half a job. I'm saying this now, I'm like, you're coming over tomorrow. My house is not going to be immaculately clean. There's no way. So it will be half jobs all over the place, and you'll be like, what was she talking about? Um, but yeah, I can't just do half jobs. Which obviously isn't a sensory issue. I can't, it doesn't seem like, well, I suppose it's a visual sensory kind of thing. Um, but it just feels wrong. It just feels
Mhm.
wrong in my body. And yeah, it feels uncomfortable and I don't like it.
I'm the same with cleaning. For those listeners who also live with chronic illnesses, you will know that most of the advice is around pacing and splitting tasks into small, manageable chunks. So the advice would be, well, on a Monday, clean the bathroom, and on a Wednesday, clean the bedroom, and on a Friday, do this. And when that advice was given to me, I was like, are you joking? There's not a chance in hell that I'm doing. Firstly, the job is never, I mean, I know cleaning's never really done, but if someone cleans that whole house in a day, that's now done until the next time they do it. But if you do a room a day or every other day, you'll just reach the point where you've got to start again.
Yeah.
You don't get a bit of relief of not having to do it. And
Yeah.
also, it just means some parts of your house are clean and some parts aren't. That is just wrong. I'm just saying, and that is
I'm
just
just,
wrong.
I'm just going for the whole, it's not. I've got 5 kids. I'm fighting a losing battle over here.
But yeah, it is a sense of wrongness
Mm.
and rightness and having to have things just right. I can't remember if this is the right term. I don't know if it's called the Goldilocks effect, but it's called something like
Mm.
that. But it's basically being Goldilocks, that everything has to be just right in order for you to be able to feel comfortable, to be able to breathe, to be able to be like, ah, okay, everything's okay because everything is just right. And so if something is just slightly off, if something's out of alignment with something else, or I mean, you mentioned decorating edges. Oh, God, edges. They have got to be bang on, which is crazy because two walls meeting never make a perfect corner. Like they just don't. So it's just like this constant internal standard of feeling like there is a right way to do things or a right way for things to look. And the reason that I think being autistic can link in so much with this is because, from a sensory perspective, our visual environment can have quite a big impact on us in terms of how we might feel in our environment. But also, we tend to really notice small details, which means we tend to notice anything. Well, we tend to be able to see things in small detail. So if there's anything amiss, we'll probably see it. And we're also really good at pattern recognition. So if something is off and doesn't quite fit the pattern, kind of a bit like how I was describing with my skin, if something's just a bit off, we're going to notice it and it's going to bother us if we're this way inclined. So I think that's just a couple of the reasons of why autistic people may struggle with this more than other people.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. And I find it so hard. And like when you were saying there about the Goldilocks effect, there's part of me that's like, oh, I love that. Like, I love a kind of children's story and it sounds cute. But also I can hear the dismissiveness of it, of like, I don't know, I could just when you said it just felt like I could feel a tone of like, oh, just get over yourself. Like, what's the problem? Like, you can't have everything exactly how you want it all the time. And I know that, and of course I know that. I think there's something in there about causing a fuss. Like, it feels like causing a fuss, and I can understand why. I can also I have my own experiences of being around people who need things to be a certain way, and I'm like, why does it matter though? And having to remember that just because it doesn't matter to me doesn't mean it doesn't matter to other people. But it can be a really uncomfortable experience to have this thing really matter, and yeah, to have had an idea in your head of how something was going to be, and then it turns up and it's not quite right. And yeah, just awkward conversations, like, yeah, like when someone says like, oh, is it all right? And like you feel like you have to say yes because like it is technically all right, but it's not what you wanted.
No,
Oh,
I can just really feel it in my body, as you're
yeah.
talking about it, just like, no, no,
Yeah.
it's not okay.
Yeah. 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 But also, you also said there about like this internal sense of things being okay. It made me think about how I'm impacted by external prompts of getting things right. So I guess this is a bit of a bit of a shift, but it makes me think about again social media. I feel like I do a lot of social media bashing on this podcast. Whatever. But I prepared a bit for this episode, and I've made a little list of people, and I've given all of the people a name, and they're in alphabetical order, and it's just brought me so much joy to do it, and I'm just so excited about just reading this bit. So one of the things when it comes to like getting things just right, I guess, is the pressure of the amount of things that I feel like I need to get absolutely right. And I think is why I find it so easy to slip into burnout, because there's so much pressure all of the time. But what I noticed a few years ago is that I look around all these different people and I notice what they're getting exactly right. And I feel like I should be getting all of the different things right. So let me read you out this bit. So I go on Instagram and I'm just scrolling through and I see Abigail doing perfect fitness. And then I see Belinda doing perfect cleaning of her house, and it's gleaming and it's wonderful. And then I see it scroll on a bit more and I see Claire being a perfectly involved, serene mum. And I scroll a bit more and I see Daisy showing up everywhere in the therapy world and being super confident and doing all the things that I wish I was doing. And then I scroll a bit more and then I see Eva having the best time with her friends, and just feel like I should be doing all of it perfectly all the time.
Oh, that was great, the way that you've listed that out. Yeah.
I'm sure I could go further down the alphabet, but I did restrain myself. But yeah, I did enjoy
Oh,
doing those alphabetical names.
I think we could get all the way to Z.
Yeah.
I really think that we could.
Yeah.
We should do a carousel post with that. We're like a 26-page
26.
long of the A to Z of pressure.
Yeah.
All of that was pressure.
Yeah.
Nobody can do all of the things, perfectly well all of the time. But through social media, you are putting all of those different things together into one story that you should be doing and should be able to do. And if you can't do all of those things, you're failing. You're not good enough. You're not trying hard enough.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's none of the pain or the mess or the discomfort or the resistance, or like, people just don't really put that on social media very much. There's the odd account that does it, but as a whole picture of what you see people doing. And then there's the influencers that are like, oh, you say you don't have enough time, but if you just did 10 minutes here or there. And I'm like, no, I haven't got 10 minutes here or there. I've got minus 10 hours. If you want to
Right.
check out my calendar, minus 10 hours is what I have. I can't squeeze this in. Or makes me think about earlier in my therapy, my therapist said to me, you can fit all of this on paper. It fits on, if you draw a timetable out on paper, it fits on paper, but in practice, there's no accounting for energy levels, pain levels, one of the kids being sick, client being in crisis, whatever. Yeah, and I just see it as such a kind of, well, it is a capitalist thing, isn't it? Because so many of these people are selling things or are trying to become influencers, trying to earn money, trying to earn through affiliate sales and whatever. It's just not realistic. And I've had more and more comments lately, which I guess is unsurprising because I've been putting myself out there more, of people looking at me and saying like, oh, you're okay, like, oh, you're sorted, or like, you're successful, or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I wish, like, part of me just wants to get my camera and turn it around, because my desk at the moment is chaos. It is pure chaos. Like, I don't know how I'm functioning at this point, and that's just my desk. Like, there are so many times where, yeah, things are not things are not okay, where I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to go for a walk. I don't want to, whatever, where I can't do these things perfectly. And I get, yeah, there's just something here about, I feel like there's something, like a whole big reason of why we do this podcast, I think, is dispelling some of this idea that we can do it perfectly, that we have to be perfect, that we can be any of this. I feel like I've gone into a big thing. Please pause and jump in and say something.
I'm rolling with it. I'm just like, well, you were on a roll. So I was like, yeah, I'll just let you keep talking. But you are right. And yeah, I think we do want to dispel those myths, and also dispel myths around being together, being sorted, being okay. Everybody has their stuff. And some people have more stuff than others. But we just need to project realness. We just need more realness out there in the world. And I do hope that is something that we do on the podcast, or can continue to do and strive even more towards, probably. Yeah, that there's so much in there. And I like your example. There was an example that popped up for me. I won't go into all the details, but I was seeing a dietitian, and they were asking me what my difficulties are around food. And then I actually went on a roll. And then I was talking about all the reasons why I struggle with food. I think I literally rambled on straight for like 20 minutes. So I'm not going to do that now, but I'll just give you an idea of some of the things that I said. Just knowing what it is to eat, knowing what you're supposed to eat, what's healthy to eat, what's in moderation, the eat well plate, but then also the eat well plate is based on out of date information. Also, sometimes you're told that these things are good for you, but they're not actually. They just want you to keep investing your money into it because of the industry. You're supposed to eat 5 portions of fruit and veg a day, but also it's supposed to be a rainbow. But then in other countries, it's like 10, 12, 15 portions. So what's the right amount of portions that you're supposed to be having a day? Nutrients, calories, macro, whatever the thing is. half your plate's supposed to be vegetables. Make sure you're not having processed foods, but then these everyday items are processed foods. Are they good or are they bad? Is this ultra processed food good or bad? Plan for your food, budget for your food, make sure it's balanced over the week. I went on for 20 minutes. And only after I finished speaking did I think, yeah, this is why I'm so overwhelmed and struggling so much.
And
It's
that's just
food.
food. And
And
that's
that's
just
just
food.
food.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
just food. You can then get on to how you should sleep and the optimal levels of sleep that you should make sure that you're having a day, and how you're supposed to wind down for sleep, how much exercise you're supposed to have, and how much of that is supposed to be vigorous, and what heart rate zone should your heart rate be in specific points of that, and how many steps are you supposed to take a day, but also be careful of your knees. There is so much information, contradicting information, some guidance that comes from our own government that's not actually accurate or the best thing for you. How are you supposed to make decisions and get it right?
Just when you were listing those things off, I think my brain must have gone off on a tangent and then come back, because I thought you were talking about vigorous sleep. And I was like, what's vigorous sleep? How do I do that?
Well, there we go. We're straight to, wait, how should I be doing this? How do I do that?
Yeah.
What am I not
Yeah.
doing that I should be doing?
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
there is just isn't like endless pressure, contradictory advice. I think if you followed all of the food rules that we have pumped at us, would you then be reaching the criteria for orthorexia?
Well, right. Yeah. Because you'd be so, yeah, you'd be,
Obsessed with what
yeah,
you're, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's exhausting, isn't it? I feel like I'm exhausted just listening to the list. And it does feel like that. It does feel like that. This pressure to get things um exactly right. And I think it's so hard when you have that part of you that really wants to get things right,
Mm-hmm.
and also you can't. Can
Mm-hmm.
you? You
Yeah.
can't. It would just be it would just be exhausting. I mean, both of us struggle with our energy levels, but I can't think of anybody that would be able to do all of that. And also, even if you could, like, where's the joy? Like, where's the joy in living then? If it's just constant rule following and constant effort and constant progress and constant, oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Of doing everything just right. Yeah. I
Mm,
know what you mean. And not everybody will be thinking as in depth around these things as you or I, but they might on other things that maybe we don't. I mean,
yeah.
to be fair, and I did take it in good nature, but my dietitian did actually say this is the most autistic conversation that you have ever had. Thankfully, because she knows. And I just found that funny. But
Mm,
yeah, to just get so caught up on the details and wanting to do something right that it
yeah.
becomes just too much and too overwhelming. And there are some things that don't have
Mm,
as many variables to them as food does, for example. But
mhm.
it can still just influence so many things, whether it's your health, whether it's your appearance or what your body looks like, whether it's how you're living your life, how you're cleaning your house,
Mm,
the routines that you have, how you exercise, how you move your body. It can just be
mm,
present in so many different areas.
yeah.
And just another thought that I've had actually, thinking maybe it might be good to explore this one in more detail, but socially as well, about needing to be the right person, say the right thing in the moment.
Yeah.
So, what you said, how it came across, did I say that? Did I say that right? Did I say that okay? Did it upset somebody? So, I think it can really show up there as well with the intention of needing to be, I need to be on form, can't get anything
Yes.
wrong.
Yeah. That is definitely a whole episode in itself, isn't it?
Yes.
We will add it to the list.
Add it to the list. Yeah.
Yeah. So as we're talking, part of me is like, wow, this is making me feel a bit depressed, actually. And I don't want it to, because I think there's something about the balance of it, because I think the striving for things to be right can be a good thing. It's certainly not something that I want to eliminate from who I am as a person. I like that I notice the details. I think it's good that I notice details in things. But also, I would like to just be able to clean my house.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Over the years, I think I've learned that if we're this way inclined, I think we're always going to be this way inclined.
Mm.
However, I do think it's something that we can work on to lessen and to not be so prevalent in our everyday lives and learn how to manage that and think about the areas that it impacts us the most, whilst also knowing that this is probably still going to be a tendency. I'm never going to be able to not notice flaws and things. I just will. But I can try to monitor my response to noticing flaws and things. And that sometimes I think it's okay to return it. And other times it might be actually just sitting with the discomfort of it not being exactly right.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely a pick your battles thing, isn't there? Yeah. Of like how much time and energy is each particular battle worth
Mhm.
having?
Yes.
But then I go back to the food issue and I'm like, it's just there's nothing I'm going to be able to do about that. Like that, I think that really is a sensory thing of needing things to be exactly right.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm,
I think that maybe there is a difference between when something needs to be just right for a sensory need.
hmm
I feel like that's different from something that needs to be just right because of fear of judgment, because of fear of getting it wrong,
mm,
to avoid a certain feeling. I guess they feel like different things for me. So
mm,
maybe what we need is to understand the mechanisms behind the just rightness as
mm.
to why we
Yeah.
feel we need that.
Yeah. And I think that just isn't talked about enough. And I think sometimes there's too much pressure on the person that is fussy, in air quotes, to be less fussy rather than on the other person to be more accommodating of what is actually a sensory issue.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and it's tricky. And I do get that. Even if it's a sensory issue, with 5 children, so there's 7 of us living in my house, there's competing sensory needs. So yeah, things are never going to be just right for
Mhm.
anybody. So there's also what we do about that.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, this is where it comes back to can we increase our tolerance for some things not being just
Mm.
right? And which things are just things that actually would have a really big impact on
Mm.
us if we couldn't make that better?
Yeah.
There's a difference between being uncomfortable and suffering,
Mm.
I think.
Yeah. hmm Yeah. Yeah. It's making me think about choice and like autonomy as well. That I think if you feel like you have less autonomy over your life, then the little things can feel like magnified, can't they? I think they can
Mm,
trigger then those feelings of being helpless or powerless to change things. So even small things will kind of set that off. The little things can be, yeah, triggers for that sense of not being in control. And that can then, so what looks like a big blow up over something tiny is actually a big blow up over, I don't feel like I have a sense of control in my life. And it's getting
mm,
hyper focused onto this tiny detail rather than the bigger issue that may
mm.
or may not be able to be addressed.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good point.
Mm. I don't know if you might know more about what drives this kind of thing than me. I think I almost don't want to talk about this bit because maybe because I still feel defensive about it.
Okay.
Maybe because I've been made to feel so wrong about it for so many times in my life that yeah. Yeah, like I just don't even want to entertain the idea that it could be any different or which is not usually how I am, but
Yeah. I can see you're
I
really trying to figure this out in the
yeah,
moment.
there's something about I just want to be able to say like this is just how I am and it's okay and like leave me alone. I'm
Leave
like
me alone.
I'm fine. I'm fine. It's fine to be this way. And I think it's a bit like I said in some of our earlier episodes about, when people are not emotional, like they don't react emotionally. And then I am an emotional person and I can have big reactions to things. It's like constantly being positioned as like the wrong one because I'm having an emotional reaction, but that the people that are not emotional at all and are perhaps rejecting responsibility or not being very emotionally mature themselves, like kind of be like positions me as the bad one. Does that make sense? I feel like I've not said that very clearly, but it feels
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
similar kind of thing. Is like, yeah, maybe I'm just be like, yeah, leave me alone. Yeah.
I think it's about asking yourself the question, how and when or if does this cause me distress?
Mm,
If someone needs everything to be just right and it doesn't affect them, doesn't bother them, doesn't sap joy, doesn't cause distress, you could arguably say, well, crack on. If, however, there are times where it's having an impact on you, it's causing distress, it's causing strong emotional responses, if it's making you unhappy, if it's taking over your daily thoughts, your routines, how you're thinking about things, then I think it is something that would be massively beneficial, to work on and to lessen and to try and get more comfortable with things not being just right. But I think the caveat is it depends on what those things are, depends maybe on why we're doing it, and it depends on what is the real world impact of that on you. So if I take my example of needing to examine everything, I kind of could split that in two different ways. So, on the one hand, I get great joy when I have something and there's no marks on it and it's great. And I'm like,
mm,
okay. It's like relief, like it's fine. I don't have to do anything with it. But let's just say I've ordered 4 things that week and all 4 things come with a mark on them.
mm,
The impact on me is huge, the way it feels in my body, the disappointment that I feel. Again, I feel a bit of a sense of injustice, like this is brand new. It should be brand new.
mm,
But also, it creates significant life admin of having to go to the hassle of return those 4 things if it's all happened in one week. And then you've got the anxiety of waiting for the next one to come. And is then that also going to have a mark on it? So it can take up a lot of your thinking time. You have to actively then go out and do stuff. You've then got the worry about what if the next one is like that. So if I could learn to be more okay with very minor marks on stuff, it would make my life easier. But at the same time, visually, I do just think that new things should look new. As an example, I ordered a special edition set of books, and there were 8 books. And when you put them all together, they form a picture. So, you need all the 8 books together. And when they arrived, and there was 8 of them, they're all individually packaged. I said to my partner, right, come on, can you sit down with me and help me look over all of these books? So he took half, I took half. He does not care remotely about these things. He'd accept something if it had like a noticeable mark on it because it wouldn't be worth sending it back, in his opinion. But he's there meticulously checking each side of the book so that we could do it together and decide which ones were good and which ones weren't, and which ones am I going to ask for a replacement of. And so in that scenario, that was someone that was sharing that with someone who didn't say I was too much or didn't say I was being silly or didn't say that they were fine. They just helped me with what they know that I struggle with and how I need something to be. And that actually just felt quite nice to sit and do that together. The books are actually, they've been sat on my stairs in the box for 5 days because I can't be bothered with the faff and the hassle. And I don't actually know if I'll end up just keeping them or whether I will send them back. We'll see. Trying to manage my energy well at the moment. But I guess the point that I was trying to make is that maybe it doesn't have to be all or nothing of I need to learn how to stop doing this. And maybe it's more how can I find more balance with this so that actually when I don't really have much mental space or energy and there's things going off, that maybe I can allow some things to not be quite right. And
mm.
other times when I do, maybe it's okay that this thing I do actually want to be bang on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I wonder if actually, because I'm kind of curious about my response. I could tell it was coming from quite a childlike kind of place. Um, but I wonder if because I've really let some things go. Like one of the things that I was thinking about while you were talking is the Christmas tree. So I let my kids decorate my Christmas tree. And I don't move the baubles around after they've gone to bed like I used to do. I just leave it, and it's mismatched and it's, whatever. There's almost like a charm to it for me now that, they've done it. And yeah, it doesn't look like an adult's done it, and that's fine. And there's other things like that I have let go of. So I think when it's something that I need it to be right, it's like, no, I really need this to be right. So as I've let go of some things, I think it's almost heightened some of the other things.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Almost like, well, I've let go of these things. So no, I'm holding on to these ones, which is maybe where your, oh, leave me alone earlier comes from. Like, no, I'm allowed these things. I'm having these things.
Yeah. And I actually think it's another example of being autistic, having a part in this is I often forget that what I have in my head, other people don't have in their head. It crops up all the time.
Yep. Yeah.
But because I've let go of all of these things, I find it hard to remember that other people don't know that I've let go of these things, that they bothered me. Like, they're not aware of them. Of course they're not, because I haven't said anything because I've let them go. But in my head, I'm like, why are you pushing me on this when I've let go of all those other things that I haven't told you about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah. Oh, I know we need to end this episode soon, and I'm annoyed because I've just had a few more examples pop into my head. I just want to chuck them out there just so that there's more examples for people. But yeah, another one is kind of when you have, so Christmas was a great example. So the Christmas tree and where that might show up, but also in like holiday days. So that the day has to be just right, like nothing can go wrong, and you have a picture in your head of how it needs to go. And then that made me think of going on a holiday. So if I've got to the airport and me and my partner have had a bit of a disagreement about something, in my head it's like, well, that's wrecked the whole holiday,
Yeah.
I'm not even on the plane yet, and I'm already deciding that it's wrecked because it's all not been just right.
Yeah. 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 It's so hard, isn't it? And I think some of those things, so like holiday days, like, I don't want to be one of those people that needs Christmas to be perfect, because I've been on the receiving end of like Christmas needing to be perfect, and it's like, well, you might have made it perfect for you, but it's felt like eggshells for everyone else. So I try not to be like that. But yeah, I guess it's a balance, isn't it? I guess it's a balance. Yeah. Sometimes I'm just annoying. I feel like that's where I started with the episode, and that's where I'm ending with the episode. And maybe I'll just get more comfortable with that. Sometimes I'm annoying.
And that's okay.
Yeah, that is okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other people are annoying. I'll be annoying sometimes too.
I totally think that I can be quite annoying. Yeah, definitely. In a way that probably only my partner really gets to see and feel.
Same with my husband. Yeah.
Sorry about that. But yeah, definitely. I guess for anyone who's listening and is interested in checking this out for themselves, sometimes can we move from perfect to good enough?
Yeah.
And can we allow for some flexibility in our experience of something rather than having to control all elements of it? But also, what are the things for you that feel like actually it would be beneficial for me if I could try and let go of some of that, versus what things are actually really important to me that maybe it is also okay that I like that just so?
Yeah. 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 And accepting then that you might need to take responsibility for that, I think, is an important piece. Is if you need it to be just so, you might need to do it yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Have to bring it to a close. Well, if you've ever felt like you're too particular to relax, like you've adjusted something 3 times to check something again just in case, or found yourself thinking it's fine, but it's not quite right.
Maybe that's not a sign you need higher standards or more discipline. Maybe it's a sign your system is trying to create safety through control and it's just got a bit overextended.
Next time, we have a bit of a surprise because for the first time, we are inviting a guest onto our podcast. We have never had a guest before, so we're both really intrigued to see how it will go, what new things we might learn, and what we might talk about. So next time, we're diving into 2 out of control around food with guest Sarah Dosanjh, known as the binge eating therapist. This episode is for those of us who just can't stop eating, even when we're not actually hungry and can't work out why. We get into understanding comfort eating, the effects of dopamine and emotional dysregulation, and why willpower was never the problem.
Before we go, we'd love you to come and join our Substack community, Too Much Apparently. It's a little community space for fellow muchlings where we share journal prompts for every episode, host community chats, and share early updates on new episodes and live events. If you'd like to stay connected between episodes, go to toomuchapparently.com or click the link in the show notes.
And if this episode made you feel a bit less alone, subscribe, rate the podcast, and follow at Too Much Apparently on Instagram and TikTok. Those small clicks help other sensitive humans find us.
But for now, we'll leave you with this. What would it feel like if one small part of your day didn't need to be just right and you let it be exactly as it is?